is just fantastic.
Dear Elon, from Stephen King. Twitter, 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 and so on. F your need to put your personal brand on everything. For those who don't know who Stephen King is, he's written some of the best horror novels known to exist. Some of them become movies, in fact. He is quite successful, but he's very much a very progressive individual, and so he does not, whilst simultaneously being progressive, like change, which is somewhat ironic and contradictory. He is firmly against Elon Musk and his rule of X, so much so that he continues to use the platform whilst complaining about the person who runs the platform, because I think he believes by continually bleating on about the person in charge of the platform, he could prove a point about the free speech absolutism that Elon Musk is trying to espouse by having Elon ban him or suspend him or block him. Cheap gotcha wins, of course. Replies to Stephen King. You sound very transphobic when you intentionally deadname X. Bigot. Elon owns X. He can call it Stephen is a poopy head for all he wants. And says the guy who puts his name bigger than the title of the book on all his books. The funny thing is, with all the criticism that Elon gets about how he runs X, the platform X, or Twitter, is still the largest. Last year, it was announced that Instagram was the most uninstalled app of all the major social media platforms, not X. With Instagram, it's because there's been a lot more censorship taking place. This has led to many people either creating alternative accounts or just moving their content to another platform. The reason I know Instagram was the most uninstalled app of 2023 is actually because of Elon Musk, who had retweeted Doge designer breaking. Instagram was the most deleted app in 2023, Elon simply saying interesting. Replies to Elon, indeed, included a meme, X simply towering over the other platforms. And a quote from Elon Musk, $44 billion was not the cost of Twitter, it was the cost of restoring free speech. And Instagram is becoming basically pointless. It seems like most people are dissatisfied with the way it's going and leaving more and more. To be honest, I kind of agree with that too. The potential to organically grow is becoming less and less a reality for those who would want to grow on that platform. Unless you carve out your own niche, you are going to struggle. I've discovered with my Omegon one, the only thing it gets likes are cat and dog pictures. On my whiskey one, it's very difficult to grow at all, because it turns out a lot of it does get, what do you call it when it's being suppressed? Oh, it's suppressed. Certain types of content that promotes certain types of bad habits perhaps don't get much in the way of traction, because even if you use all the tags that supposedly get you the attention or should at least put it into relevant algorithms, doesn't really work. It's like YouTube with their tags. An ongoing problem that is unlikely to ever change. In the case of Instagram, a reset is required, but Zuckercuck won't do that. He's too busy being Zuckercuck. Let's move on to Hassan P. Happy Valentine's Day. If you get sex advice from either of these dudes, you will be alone forever. Included is an image, a thumbnail from Ben Shapiro's channel titled Sexual Boredom is Running Rampant with Jordan B. Pettersson. Both men are married, both men have children, both men are to an extent wealthy, successful. Hassan Piker is not. Now I retweeted this with fam, you're getting flayed for having no leg to stand on. I like that. Replies to Hassan, weird because they're both married with kids yet you're not. If you take sex advice from these two married men, you'll be alone forever as a quote. A single 32-year-old man. Two married men with successful marriages and like at least 6 kids between them both. Don't take advice from those men. Lol. And they have kids. Remind us, how many kids do you have? Hassan got absolutely flayed in the replies to this. Because if you're going to judge others for how they live their life or how they discuss topics like, well, sex, at least be somebody that has what can be considered a leg to stand on instead of being the hipster tosspot that also allegedly has a billionaire father. You're a champagne socialist. And you get caught out far too often, Hassan. You're a contrarian hipster. And I mean a hipster that is contrarian to be a hipster. Hipsters on their own are contrarians, but you like to double down and make it even worse. I really wish you'd fought Sam Hyde. He could have knocked some sense into you by giving you a hiding. As many of you will know, Valentine's Day was at some point this week. So understandably many people would tweet out about it. Keemstar, for example. Cool. Getting a reply, I'm way hotter than your wife. Keemstar retweets this with, you sell pictures of your asshole online. You have no value. Sometimes burns just have to happen organically, and there is much in the way of, let's say, aggression on platforms like Twitter. Keemstar gets it on a daily basis because of the age gap between himself and his partner. He gets it for many other reasons, but the age gap one is quite a common one, along with his beard apparently being made of plastic and wearing a hat being a coping mechanism for a lack of follicles on top of his head as well. I have found over the many years of this platform's existence and my being on it, it is typically used as a deflection or a really crap coping mechanism to instead attack someone for their appearance or their life choices. Two consenting adults regardless of age gap, okay. Beard real or not, okay. Hat, okay. So what? It's all a part of the brand of Keemstar, right? To be honest, I take no issue with how he looks or what he says because, as Keemstar himself has pointed out multiple times, I hope you will learn something from me throughout the years. Be unapologetically you. All the grifters die early, we live forever. FYI, I'm not referring to an actual death, talking about some of these 15 minutes of fame clowns. The reason he had to include that second tweet is because of the recent passing of Tumad, and we are not going to be discussing that here. There is far too much in that, and I do not want to be caught in it making any assertions. Some things need to unravel naturally with time, and this is one of those times where I know the optics enough to know I'm not that stupid. And just before we move on, one more tweet from Keemstar.
Search Tipster's hard drive.
Tipster is, at time of recording, still going to bat for people he probably should reconsider as friends. He's not making himself look any better, and I'm very much aware how divisive the subject of lolicon is, and lolly in general. I don't care. I really don't. But you do you, boo, and Tipster, have your hard drive searched. Seriously. On the subject of YouTubers courting or causing a form of controversy, ZachXBT. Remember when KSI posted, quote, all of a sudden my bag is looking juicy again, some crypto thing, right? End quote. Then proceeded to dump $850,000 worth of XCAD over the following days from his wallet address. Images included show KSI doing that. Continuing, how do I know this is his wallet? Well, he posted NFTs he owned multiple times, such as this mutant ape, also using his OpenSea username and his honorary NFT. Wallet address included. Images also included. KSI posts on the 3rd, 2021 or 20th of the 3rd, 2021, saying 2 NFT coins, I'm very bullish on Super ERM. By the way, I know nothing about cryptocurrency, legitimately nothing. All I know is it exists and doesn't exist, and that it ebbs and flows quite well. They continue on for some time talking about other posts that KSI has been involved in with cryptocurrency. CoffeeZilla is referenced in this thread. Here is the excuse KSI gave to CoffeeZilla for dumping tokens shortly after making posts. KSI said, because I thought I was getting trolled. Honestly, every time I tweeted something, the opposite would happen on the market. So I decided to tweet the opposite of what I was actually doing and still took an L. CoffeeZilla retweeted this with, I confronted KSI on pump and dumping crypto, originally found by ZachXBT. His response is in my new video linked below. Many people have accused CoffeeZilla of a form of reach in the replies to this tweet. Some pointing out that KSI doesn't so much get involved in the scam aspect, but catalogues through his tweets his journey involved in cryptocurrency. But reach seems to be the more prevailing and common reply. Some using analytics for cryptocurrency, ebbs and flow market charts. I don't understand any of it. I just wanted to highlight it because it is an interesting interaction, because this could well set up further down the line additional replies if KSI responds to anything in CoffeeZilla's video, which has majority like to dislike. There are some dislikes, but everyone gets dislikes. Moving on, Nick Sauter.
Crowd in Vegas boos The Rock, demanding he follow through with aid for Maui.
Oprah and Dwayne The Rock Johnson promised
tens of millions
to the victims of the Maui fires, but many victims have still not seen a dime. It looks like the audience is fully
America first
and is demanding The Rock and Oprah follow through with their commitment to take care of the people of Lahaina. The crowd started booing and chanting,
Maui, 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 make it happen.
Readers added context. This event was to promote WrestleMania 40 because it had just been announced that Dwayne was going to be going against Roman Reigns, when the audience and many of us at home did not want that. We wanted Cody. Nick did, however, continue and then admit that this has been disputed by The Rock himself, and that he is willing to hear The Rock out and hoping we can work together to force the government to actually provide meaningful aid to the victims. The Rock was livid and posted a rather lengthy response via a retweet. I typically refrain from responding to toxic, false clickbait garbage like this because I hate dignifying BS with a response. But when you used Hawaii's tragic events to draw attention to yourself, I won't stay quiet. This moment you're referring to is from our WWE press conference this past Thursday, where I turned heel, wrestling parlance for bad guy. I'm playing it up with the crowd as they boo. It's what we do in our WWE universe and we all love every second of it. For the record, our People's Fund of Maui has already
delivered over $50 million
to over 8,000 survivors who were affected by the fires, and I'm grateful to the bone that we've been the primary funders. Hawaii is where I grew up, where I raised my children throughout the year, and where my ancestors are buried. These are my Polynesian people, and these are our American people. You can't imagine how much they are still struggling daily to put their lives back together and take care of each other. Our Poly-American people are as resilient as people come, and they still raise and get back on their feet. Nick, instead of posting BS like this, that you know is false, I encourage you to post something positive for Hawaii, for our Polynesian American people, or actually take positive action and come to Hawaii to help out in an uplifting way. I'm in Hawaii now, and I guarantee you'll get great content that can actually make a difference in people's lives genuinely. Let's put our energy and our online platforms into lifting people up, acknowledging the good things that people do, raising awareness for the suffering in ways that can effectively help. It takes so much effort to be negative and create and spread BS, but when you spread positivity, kindness, and lead by example, you can really impact lives. For the sake of how social media works, especially on Twitter, you will find a lot of what you've said there about positivity and raising people up to not be something that applies to platforms that are quite black-pilled and boomer, mostly the black-pilled part. Very nihilistic by nature. But optimism is admirable, Dwayne, truly. There's still much in the way of criticism that comes your way for, well, trying to steal the limelight from Cody Rhodes. There is much in the way of criticism you receive for your involvement in the People's Fund, or our People's Fund. People suggesting that perhaps you put up more money since you're worth so much money. In truth, any help is always appreciated, and I would never be so rude as to suggest you give up your entire net worth to do that. Or Oprah for that matter. I think if people can work together, of course, great things can be achieved, but that is rarely how people like to work. We'll finish with one more tweet, this one from Ozzy Osbourne. I'm not doing this in the voice because it'll wear me completely out. Kanye West asked permission to sample a section of a 1973 live performance of Warpig from the US festival without vocals, and was refused permission because he is an anti-Semite, who has caused untold heartache to many. He went ahead and used the sample anyway at his album listening party last night. I want no association with this man. Ozzy was trending, Kanye was trending. Kanye's had a number of his songs removed from the Apple Store, in fact. Ozzy's tweet has since been deleted. I get the feeling he got far too much blowback. Although, if you notice from the tweet in this image, he got a lot of interaction. Yes,